I know, I'm like, this is my favorite plant. No one wants to get close.
Oh, wow.
It's like a fuchsia.
Tell me if this reminds you of anything. Look at the shape of these berries. Any plants you can think of these remind you of?
Tomatoes.
Yeah, okay, so
Oh, I thought you were
there's a
tomatoes.
family of plants called the nightshades. The nightshades have a very colored history. Just the name alone, you kind of get like this vibe from, right? Like, ooh, the nightshades. And the nightshades are also called the witching herbs. Okay, there's several of them. Henbane, mandrake, datura, belladonna, the deadly nightshade. These plants all contain a group of chemicals, the scopolamine molecules, and they're pretty toxic, but they're also really psychoactive. So the witches use them to get high. We see people getting high with them all over the world, actually. They create like a frenzied high, and they can eventually kill you. One of the chemicals they produce is atropine, which they use in the medical community to dilate the pupils. That was also cosmetically used. I actually make a tincture of that, and I use that all the time to dilate people's pupils. Very healing for the eye. Well, the nightshades were bred down, just like we've talked about. We bred them into foods. So what are some of the nightshade foods? Tomato, peppers, eggplant. Now, one of the things about the nightshades is that even though they're green, you can sense under the green here, there's these weird, see this color?
Yeah.
Eggplant's like that, right? It's like black. And the deadly nightshade puts off a berry that's black. And you'll find there's this color underlying. You guys ever seen the peppers that go black? There's a black pepper. So all of our peppers, all our bell peppers, green peppers, cayenne peppers, eggplants, tomato, tobacco. What are some other ones? Any other ones coming to mind? There's quite a few plants we use in our culture that are bred from the nightshades. Now, some of you may have heard tomato wasn't eaten for a long time. It was thought to be poisonous. Well, it is poisonous. And you may know in certain nutritional systems, they say to avoid the nightshades. Anyone heard that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Some people do have sensitivities to these molecules. They're atropine, scopolamine, and hyoscyamine. And for some people, they're not great. For me, they work. And I've worked with these plants, and I really like them. However, it's interesting, again, that we've got all these plants that you can eat 10 eggplants, and you'll be fine. But that's not a natural food. So again, you could get a book on food, and it'd be like, about, natural foods from the earth or whatever. They're not really. We don't find wild eggplant. We find this. You eat a bunch of that, and it's not going to be a good story for you. Very characteristic.
Toxic, so don't.
Yeah, this is a toxic plant. This is the nightshade plant. However, it has some medicinal uses, but it's like you need to know what you're doing. This is a plant that really requires self-responsibility. However, you'd probably notice it didn't taste good. You probably wouldn't, those berries actually are a little deceiving. So anyway, we have a long history with the nightshade plants. We talked a lot about the witches of Europe last night, and where that whole story comes from. And these were some of the main plants that they worked with. This is a relative, and it's a relative of a lot of the foods we eat. So it's another example of a food that's been bred. You can see how if you bred that long enough, you might end up with a bell pepper or a tomato or a cayenne, right? You can see that shape of the eggplant in it, right? It's that same family. So all these foods that we're eating, thinking, come from nature, they really come from breeding from plants that come from nature.
What is this one called?
This is American nightshade.
American.
Mm-hmm. What's the solanaceous plants is the family. And they often produce really amazing, anybody ever seen the datura? You guys know datura?
Yeah.
The trumpet flower, big, sexy, beautiful flower, but got that weird dark energy to it. It's a nightshade. That's a real dangerous psychedelic plant. There are a lot of them like that. There's a tree version of datura. It's another nightshade. Those are all the solanaceous.